Alright, hey everybody, it's Commander Clyde and we're back once again for another patch notes reaction video. Today, Dragon's Fortune 5.9 PC update notes for SMITE. Let's get into it. Skins. Lots of dragons, apparently. Today we got dragons like Sobek, it looks like a dragon. Dragon Queen Scylla, got dragons for tentacles instead of the dogs. Soothsayer Morgan, and Sobek Masteries. Nice. Also this Nox skin. I forgot to point that out. There it is. Got more of the EDM, bass drop, whatever, all that fun stuff. Got a bunch of bug fixes. Updated all mentions of out of combat triggers to be specific about their timing. Following have been updated, all of these things. I'm not going to go through big through all those. Whatever. Okay. Fixed an issue where the UI would replay the lock-in animation for all locked players each time a player locked in a god. Soul Reaver now correctly costs 2750 gold. Fixed an issue where the minimap could be pushed to the top right of the screen behind other UI elements. Fixed an issue where Chernobog had an incorrect Pantheon icon. Hydra's Lament no longer applies bonus damage to abilities that are treated as basic attacks. Fixed an issue where players wouldn't see their proper active booster time displayed. I feel like that's inconsistent. I mean, well, that's inconsistent with some items and not others because Made You Look still will proc crit. So, you seem like you're just making that make less sense. I mean, if it hits like an auto attack, if it works like an auto attack on everything else, why on one item would it not? That seems odd. On Chernobog's 2, his on Vicious Barrage, that's his Chernobog's 2. I get that, but eh, I don't like the change on Made You Look. Kind of takes away from the uniqueness of him for having an ability that is an auto attack, basically. New cosmetics, awesome chest stuff, godlike chest stuff, fantasy points stored, don't care. This is the old icon. What is this? Increased ability of lifesteal from 10 to 15% because no one wants to build this dumb item. There are certain gods it works pretty well on, but it's just a weird item that no one wants to build. So they buffed it. Hide of the Urchin has been primarily favored by gods in the solo role, yet the stacks can be very hard to earn from that position. We are decreasing the amount of stacks required to evolve this item while bringing up the amount of protections per stack. Essentially, this item will provide nearly the same protections when fully stacked. It will just take less time. The shield from the evolved form is also getting a speed up, allowing it to build up more quickly between fights. Decreased stacks required from 10 to 7. Increased protections per stack from 2 to 3. Decreased amount of time taken to generate a shield from 3 to 2 seconds. Okay. Just the point of that is make it more appealing to solo laners and more useful, I suppose. Which, yeah, this is an item you have to build early. Early game, you're going to get very few stacks on it usually, unless you're just rotating all the time, which might be smart. It does encourage players to rotate, which I think rotations get overlooked with the new map size. That actually makes rotations more impactful because your opponent's going to expect it less since the map is so big. All that. Increased passive pin buff from 10 to 15, probably again to encourage people to buy it. So But let's see. In 5.9, we are focusing on targeted adjustments towards support item options. Sovereignty and Heartward Amulet have become almost mandatory for supports this season, pushing out other more offensive options. Stone of Binding is a strong offensive choice that saw early experimentation but has fallen out of favor as the meta has developed. We are increasing the reward for triggering it while cleaning up its visual representation to be less visually distracting. Okay, so yeah, they just would like to see it built more, which it's a really good item. This is like a Joust favorite, in my opinion. There's a lot of Guardians that use this item incredibly well. Different forms of CC. I forget what forms of crowd control it works on. Does it, if it, I don't remember if it works on slows, but it works on a lot of things. This has been like, this is like a, pretty much a go-to item for like Cabrakan and RTO and those gods that have several forms of crowd control and can proc them on a target pretty easily. So this makes it super strong, Joust and such. Okay, let's see. Talisman of Energy is a strong utility aura that encourages teams to push with their minion waves, but was too restrictive in actual use cases. We are increasing the radius so players more reliably get the buff, increasing the duration to allow teams to utilize the buff better and increasing the stacks to make it work fully against a wave of 6 minions. Increase radius of buff from 55 to 70 units. Increase buff duration from 6 to 8 seconds. Increase max stacks from 5 to 6. So bigger radius, more movement speed, longer duration, big buffs for Talisman of Energy, which no one is buying, and they probably still won't. So that seems to happen a lot. Items get buffed, still don't get picked up, get buffed again, and it's like until the point where they're stupidly overpowered, and then, well, case in point, increase magical protection 50 to 60 on Shogun's Kasari because after increasing it from 40 to 50, people still aren't buying it because they get so dedicated to the meta. Sovereignty, strong item. Everyone's building it right now. They're dropping the protections by 5. So you're less tanky. Basics. Decreased magical protection provided by the aura from 20 to 15. Okay, that's odd. What do they say about that? As stated above, Heart Ward Amulet is seeing a light touch to ensure it is still a strong choice, but more in line with the offensive options. Magical protection provided by this aura is being reduced by 5, making teams as a whole more susceptible to magical damage. Okay, so I guess they just thought it was too strong of an anti-magical item, whatever. Decrease base penetration from 20% to 15%. Increase protection threshold for max pen 40% from 175 to 200 physical protections. That is a buff. Quickly, let's read the description. Titan's Bane and Obsidian Shard saw a very high amount of use rate in the recent land, regardless of the enemy comp being tank heavy or not. This points to the items being too effective in all situations. Titan's Bane and Obsidian Shard are having their base penetration reduced while still scaling to the same 40% at a higher armor threshold. This should move these items further in the direction of tank counters rather than all-purpose penetration choices. Okay, so we've gone from, let me do math quickly because 175 is a weird number. Okay. So we go from, let's see, times 0.40, ignoring 70 protections to 80 protections, which is not a massive change, but it's a pretty significant change because now it still has good use against gods that get even like crazy tanky, which means opens up the door for you to build other items against it that you might otherwise be reluctant to do because it might reduce the effectiveness of the pen. Blah blah blah. Against super tanky gods, it actually allows you to build much stronger. And that's pretty nuts. This is just anti-tank meta essentially. They did the same thing with Obsidian Shard, which I feel like this is a big deal because hunters. Hunters. If you're, oh, let's talk, who's got a steroid? Uh, let's just say, okay, for basics, let's just talk about Hachiman. Let's see, Hachiman has a built-in attack speed steroid. He already has pretty high base damage. He's going to want to build this item a lot, and it will make him incredibly ridiculous against tanks. Who needs crit? Just build pen. Like, seriously. Okay. Ah, what? 15 power. Okay, we're doing this apparently, because it doesn't already have 10% CDR. So let's just add 10 more power. I mean, let's add 15 power too. Why not? Hey! Oh, it's a party now. Magical boots. Our singing power increases this patch. When looking at overall god performances, mages are slightly underperforming compared to the rest of the god pool, while mid as a role may be super impactful. We have seen multiple instances where other classes besides mages can succeed in that position. To help mages better compete against other classes for the mid lane role, we are increasing the base power of two types of shoes, something core to all mage players. Shoes of Focus is getting a slightly larger buff this patch than the Shoes of Magi, which was already the overwhelming most popular choice. So, let's talk about this. 10 more power. It's also got 10 pin. We also did this. If mages could get any more powerful, I'd be surprised, but I might bet on that very soon. Because, like, we did all this, and this already has 10 pin, now it's got 10 more power, and you did that. Like, what are you trying to do to people? High res. Oh, you didn't. No, come on, man. You can't do this to me. Why are they nerfing Opwaj? They're nerfing my Dark Horse dual pick. I'm upset. Opwaj has strong control and AoE damage potential, but often struggles at key parts of the early game in Conquest. Oh, wait. Oh, I misread this. Never mind. Yay! It does more damage. The initial damage is higher. The little poof. That doesn't really do anything. Okay, actually, that's cool. There's 30 more power at all ranks. Man, that rank 1 there. Easy full clear. And decreased damage per corpse. Because they don't want this to be entirely overpowered by 5. Oh no. Ah. Oh no. I'm sorry. I sneezed. Okay. Moving on to this weirdo. The Lord of Darkness made a strong appearance, but aspects of his kit made him difficult to use in ways players wanted. His mana costs are being lowered to allow him to. Do not start with me in mana costs. Look at this. Come on. Freaking AMC has higher mana costs, and no one plays him right now in Conquest. Why are you doing this? Nobody. I mean, you can't say difficult to use in ways players wanted after a week. I mean, people may not even be sure how to properly use him yet. You can't make a change based on that logic. This will also open up more build paths for him instead of needing to rush Transcendence. Crystallized Curses is also getting a small damage bump, helping his damage output in early game. when he lands the first part of his combo. It already does enough damage. Can we not? Because people are bad at hitting it, I guess. I don't know. Finally, Living Nightmare is getting some slight timing adjustments. Players will find themselves landing quicker and being able to act more quickly after landing. Improved audio and basic attacks, whatever. Decreased mana cost, increased initial damage by 20 at all ranks. Okay, why? Decreased mana, I don't get it. None of this makes any sense. Made improvements to ensure players enter the wall when they expect to and don't get auto-ejected. Fixed an issue where players would auto-eject from the wall in higher ping environments. Fixed an issue where on-hit items like Crusher are being procced twice. Living Nightmare. Remove the post-fire time from this ability from 0.2 to 0. Decrease minimum airtime from 1.2 to 1 second. Decrease maximum airtime from 3 to 2.6 seconds. Fixed an issue where traveling to a shadow could result in the player colliding with a wall. This resulted in them flying into the air and being unable to move. Fixed an issue where Chernobog could stutter on landing. Okay, there you go. Let's make the new god easier to play because it's been a week and people haven't figured it out yet. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If we're going to talk about changes to how he's used or to help people figure him out, like, why are we talking about that a week after he's been put in the game? I know I won't get off of this, but like, it takes a while to figure out how to play a new god. Give people some time before you start messing with everything. Quality of life changes are fine. That doesn't bother me. Anyway, Colin is a powerhouse in the early game, even though he's continued to be he has continued to be nerfed. Colin is a powerhouse in the early game where he can heavily pressure his opponent with his Berserk passive that provides buffs and more abilities. As a god that wants to Berserk and fight more often, this is expected from him, but the amount of pressure is overwhelming, especially early on. We are lowering the amount of bonus physical power he gets while Berserk, helping opponents trade more favorably against the Hound of Ulster. I didn't think we were still stuck with people thinking Cuchulainn was OP, but apparently we are. So now he gets less passive power from 5 plus 2 per level to nothing plus 2 per level. Which I suppose, so that's just 5 damage. Early that's a lot, but okay. I don't see how that's a big change, how that really helps that much. I guess it will. Anyway, Erlangson focuses on chaining down his opponents with basic attacks using his kit to pin them in place. Spot weakness really enables this playstyle, but the cost on it was prohibitive, making it difficult to execute. We are reducing the cost of this ability while also making the taunt from 9 turns blessing consistent at all ranks. This will help Erlangson and his team better play around a consistent duration of CC. I like this because no one's playing Erlangson right now, and that's a real shame. Because he's a fun god to play. Decreased mana cost to 60 at all ranks. Nice. Increased taunt duration to 1.2 at all ranks. It's good. I always thought 0.8 seconds for that taunt at rank 1 seemed really short. Just for how it worked and considering that his follow-up to it wasn't as significant as as Athena has after her taunt. Shield Wall does a crazy amount of damage. Most of his damage is based on auto attacks, so I think that's a fair change. Hachiman nerfs. I'm not surprised. He's one of the top tier hunters right now for Conquest, so let's just tone that down a little bit. Yeah. Hachiman brings a lot to the table as a hunter, and this has allowed him to thrive at the competitive level. We are bringing down the overall pressure that Heavenly Banner brings to the lane while toning down the slow from mounted archery. These adjustments intend to bring his power more in line with other top hunters and ensure he isn't stifling hunter pick diversity, which he is, because why would you pick other gods if we're honest? He does so many things incredibly well. Anyway, decrease damage by 10 at all ranks. Decrease slow from 25 to 45% down to 20 to 40%. It's good. That brings it in line with other slow abilities. Usually most slows cap out at 40%, most of them, I think. So that's a good change. Keeps him from being just inherently unfair against other hunters. Okay, so basically Neath has trouble scaling. Increase the attack speed from 0.95 to 1. Hooray. So it feels better to build attack speed on her, but I don't see why you would, because she kind of functions fundamentally different from most hunters because her abilities have such a large amount of damage. She's got a big self-heal. Like, she doesn't function like other hunters typically, so you don't build attack speed on her that much as it is. So, I mean, trying to make her transition better with attack speed items, I don't know if that's needed because her function is different from other hunters. But it's fine. I mean, she's very underpicked, so that's fair. Nox updated targeter for Night Terror now shows the explode radius. Now explode radius slides along line targeter if blocked. Good quality of life change. I guess if you needed to see the radius. Okay, they're doing the same thing with Scotty. Again, they function differently. I mean, she's got Calder. Does she need extra attack speed when she's already autoing you twice, basically? I don't think so. That's kind of stupid. Because that also makes Calder attack faster, I think, possibly. So it's, hey, let's just auto people even faster and kill them because they're fighting two gods at once already. So let's just make it harder, right? I wouldn't believe it if I didn't read it, but I did. Jibalanke has been really stacking up again. I want to die. You guys didn't say that. You guys didn't say that. Don't make such terrible jokes. What is this dad joke in my patch notes? Stop. Anyway, Jibalanke has been really stacking up against his opponents. God. With the latest change to his passive. The consistency the change brought really helped his performance, but it came online too quickly. We are increasing the amount of damage needed to be dealt by 50%, causing his power curve to more closely match the original intent. Wait. Oh, increasing it. Okay, I can't read, apparently. Additionally, Poison Darts is getting an important fix. Abilities should not go on cooldown until they have provided some effect, but Poison Darts could get interrupted and consumed even if no darts were fired. With this adjustment, Poison Darts will need to fire at least one dart before interrupting it. Will cause it to go on cooldown. Xbalanque now needs to deal 1500 damage to gain one stack of Dead of Night up from 1000. So he needs math 500 extra damage over. He needs 3000 more damage now to get the full benefit of the passive, which I'm glad they've done because this was completely dumb and way too strong. I don't know what has happened that they thought that was an okay idea. You stack that in about 5 minutes. I don't against. I mean, they do that on a god that has one of the highest that has the highest auto attack damage per auto in the game because of his passive. So I don't know. I still think it's a stupid passive change, even though they made it harder to get. And this ability no longer consumes mana or the cooldown if they're interrupted before the darts fire or whatever. We got a Zeus Buffet! Zeus is bringing the thunder in 5.9. Zeus relies on Detonate for his primary burst and poke potential. We are reducing the mana cost at all ranks to help him stay active in a fight, especially early game. Lightning Storm will also deal more damage at all ranks, allowing Zeus Dam to contribute to a fight even when enemies quickly flee from his storm. Decrease mana cost from 90 to 60 at all ranks. That's huge. Increase base damage by 20 at all ranks on his ultimate. God damn. I guess I'm playing Zeus now, right? I already dabble with him anyway. He's a really fun god to play. He needs to be played more. I love him to death. Though he's usually absolutely terrible. Got a huge AoE ult that does damage. Now it does more damage. Yay. Jean-Qui. Here's our last one of the day. Jean-Qui is getting some changes targeted at reducing the frustrating interactions he can sometimes have. Jean-Qui needs stacks to be effective, but his teammates can quickly remove his abilities to gain stacks. This is especially prevalent in non-conquest modes. Jean-Qui will now steal the souls of anything that dies around him, freeing up his ability to use his 1-2 combo as he wants. That's broken! The amount of stacks protections gained and amount lost from using the ultimate and dying have been changed to fit this new stacking method. Finally, Book of Demons is seeing a stun increase early on. 0.5 seconds offer very little opportunity to make plays while triggering his opponent's diminishing returns. Where is my support Jean-Qui now? It's got to happen now, right? Oh, he's got to get more stacks. They doubled the stacks and half the protection. But still, like, support Jean-Qui, hello? Because he can zone you and stuff without having to use his combo on the wave. What is this? This is a meme. Jean-Qui now gains stacks when witnessing any death. He no longer gains stacks from consuming marks with exorcism. Decrease stacks lost on death and after using recall demons from 100 to 50%. So now he only loses half the stacks, so he's still half tanky. What the heck? Stun duration increase from 0.5 to 0.9 up to 0.7 to 1.1 seconds. Which, remember, when target is marked, that is doubled. So anyway, there we go, boys and girls. That was an interesting patch. I don't know. The main thing I got out of this is mages are already stupid strong, and they're making them stupid stronger. And like, where was the other thing that was dumb? This, like, apparently we're just gonna be like, oh, this god is hard to play after a week of being released. Let's buff him dramatically for no apparent reason. Okay. Anyway, guys, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this patch notes video. Don't forget to. I just said subscribe and I was going to say subscribe for more. Ignore me, please. Do all those fun things. Check out the live stream at twitch.tv/CommanderClyde, and I will see you guys next time for some more Smite. Have a good one.